You know an episode's bad when even Gumball fans band together to roast it like the final boss of cringe. Today, we're diving into the amazing world of Gumball's most roasted episode. Grab your emotional support goldfish and let's break down the episode that broke the internet's brain. Let's be real. The amazing world of Gumball isn't just another kid's cartoon. It's a visual roller coaster of styles, jokes, emotions, and complete chaos. And somehow, it works. When the show first premiered in 2011 on Cartoon Network, it immediately stood out from everything else on TV. Not because it was loud or flashy, but because it dared to be weird in a smart way. Created by Ben Bocquelet, Gumball wasn't your typical animated series. It was born out of a pitch for a mashup show that combined rejected characters from other Cartoon Network pilots, and that quirky DNA never left. The final product was a blend of 2D animation, 3D models, live-action backgrounds, stop-motion elements, and even photorealistic characters. Watching Gumball often felt like flipping between 5 different shows at once. But instead of being a mess, it felt like magic. Somehow, it all gelled together. Beyond its looks, the show had range. One moment you're watching a hilarious school prank, and the next, it's poking fun at capitalism, politics, or even internet culture. It spoofed anime, parodied horror movies, roasted social media, and dropped life lessons about friendship and growing up, all in a 10-minute runtime. You'd hear kids laughing at the slapstick, while adults quietly nodded at the deep cuts about society and parenting. It became that rare kind of cartoon, genuinely funny for all ages. Critics praised the show for being visually inventive and emotionally honest. It won multiple awards, including BAFTAs, Annie Awards, and was even nominated for an International Emmy. Fans loved it for pushing boundaries and keeping things fresh. Every episode felt like a new experiment, and most of the time, those experiments paid off. But here's the thing. With that many creative risks, some are bound to miss. Gumball constantly pushes artistic and comedic boundaries, and sometimes it crosses the line into pure chaos. That's what sets the stage for the infamous episodes we're about to talk about. Because while Gumball has given us some of the smartest and most creative content in modern animation, it also delivered some of the most painfully awkward, weirdly unsettling, and deeply roasted moments in Cartoon Network history. Even the best shows have their off days. For Gumball, those days come with dress-up disasters, identity confusion, and an obsession with butt slaps. No, seriously. And it all starts with one dress, one goldfish, and a whole lot of psychological damage. Alright, let's break down the dress, the episode that made even the most loyal Gumball fans do a double take. It all starts with Gumball and Darwin sliding down the stairs for fun. Classic kid chaos. But when it's time to head to school, there's a problem. Gumball is completely naked. And we're not talking cartoon oopsie naked. The show literally censors his junk with a blurry pixel box. Yup, they went there. Turns out his dad Richard accidentally shrunk all of Gumball's clothes in the wash. So now, in a total fashion emergency, Gumball has to wear the only thing available, his mom's wedding dress. For some reason, this is treated as the most logical solution, because obviously out of every possible option, jacket, towel, bedsheet, mom's wedding dress is the way to go. So he wears it. To school. All day. Here's where it gets weirder. No one at school recognizes him. Like, not even Darwin. His literal brother and best friend just sees a new girl and immediately falls head over heels. And the rest of the school, they start simping hard. The dress apparently turns Gumball into the it girl overnight. And instead of clearing things up, Gumball goes full diva and leans into the attention. He flirts, he poses, he plays the mysterious new student like he's in a teen drama. Even Anais, his genius little sister, instantly clocks it's him, but everyone else, fully brain off. Then comes the roller coaster scene. Darwin, hopelessly in love, asks Gumball out on a date. Gumball still doesn't realize Darwin's crushing on him. They ride the coaster, and right before the drop, Darwin whispers, I love you. Gumball freezes. The internet cries. Everyone watching needs therapy. After that, Gumball fakes a dramatic goodbye by floating a balloon into the sky, telling everyone the girl moved to Europe. The crowd is heartbroken. Gumball's back in his regular clothes, until they disappear again. Somehow. Again. And the final scene, he's fully naked. Again. Because this episode thinks that's the funniest possible ending. So yeah, to sum up, Gumball wears a wedding dress, Darwin falls in love, Gumball fakes his own death. A balloon gets yeeted into the sun, and somehow it ends right where it started, with everyone staring at a very naked blue cat. And that's just the plot. Now let's talk about the jokes, and when they stop being funny. Quick pause before we spiral deeper into this fever dream. If you're into deep dives on your favorite or least favorite cartoon episodes, hit that like button so I know to make more. And hey, if you're watching this wearing a wedding dress, you better subscribe. Because, clearly, we get each other. The amazing world of Gumball is no stranger to weird. In fact, it thrives on weird. One minute you're watching a slice of life school episode, and the next Gumball's fighting a giant T-Rex in a supermarket or battling copyright law using anime power-ups. And that's exactly why fans love it, because it blends total absurdity with actual heart. Most of the time, Gumball hits this perfect balance. You get clever jokes tucked into background signs, slapstick that lands perfectly, and satire that pokes fun at everything from politics to pop culture. It's smart, fast, and fun. But here's the thing, even chaos needs structure, and sometimes that delicate balance tips a little too far. In the dress, the humor feels off. Instead of witty punchlines or clever visual gags, most of the episode leans on secondhand embarrassment. You know the squirmy feeling you get when someone says something so awkward you physically recoil? Yeah, it's a whole episode of that. Gumball often flirts with edgy ideas, but this time it went off the cliff. Instead of absurd fun, it left viewers confused and uncomfortable. The trademark chaos, it slipped into straight-up cringe. Gumball can handle weird romance and mistaken identity. It's done it well before. But when the joke drags and the weirdness loses purpose, the humor crashes. The episode shifts from wild fun to full-on cursed chaos. And the biggest reason fans felt weirded out? Well, it's got a lot to do with Darwin. Let's talk about the goldfish in love, and why it made viewers so uncomfortable. Let's just get this out of the way. Darwin falls in love with Gumball. Yeah, his brother. In a wedding dress. And he doesn't know it's him. That's the big comedy setup of the dress, and it's also the exact moment where a whole lot of Gumball fans collectively leaned back, blinked twice, and said, "Wait, what?" Now, before we all start shouting, let's be clear. Gumball is no stranger to weird relationships and over-the-top antics. It's literally a show where a banana, a balloon, and a T-Rex are classmates. But this one hit a little different, and not in a good way. Darwin, our sweet, pure-hearted, wide-eyed goldfish, sees Gumball in a dress and just completely forgets who his brother is. Instantly. Gumball doesn't even change his voice. He just throws on a wedding dress and boom! Darwin is simping like it's his first time seeing a Disney princess in real life. The moment is framed as a joke, but the tone quickly turns uncomfortable. Darwin falls in love with Gumball, and the episode relentlessly pushes the storyline. The year is 2012, well past the era of cartoons relying on accidental incest for laughs. Gumball does it anyway. After the whole roller coaster I love you confession, Gumball fakes the girl's disappearance by sending a balloon into the sky. Everyone sobs, thinking she's moved away. Darwin is heartbroken, but once the balloon is gone, he shrugs it off like, well, time to fall in love with a fire hydrant now. Seriously, that's not even a joke. The dress lands on a fire hydrant. Darwin sees it, instant love, rinse and repeat. This resolution feels like the writers just hit Ctrl-Z on the entire subplot, and while the randomness might seem funny on the surface, it cheapens everything that came before. We're supposed to believe that Darwin was in love. He was writing notes, blushing, licking photographs. Yep, that happens too. But then, poof, it's over. No growth, no self-reflection, not even a proper reaction when he finds out it was Gumball the whole time. Compare that to other episodes like The Nobody or The Choices, where the show explores emotions like loneliness, guilt, love, or identity in ways that actually hit hard. Those episodes had the same visual style, the same goofy characters, the same energy. But they made you feel something. They treated the characters like real people underneath all the cartoon chaos. And let's talk about cartoons and cross-dressing. Not exactly new territory. From Bugs Bunny tricking hunters in a wig and lipstick, to SpongeBob throwing on a dress to enter a beauty pageant, and even Tom and Jerry pulling drag for a laugh. This gag has been around forever, and usually, it's fine. It's silly, it's quick, it's gone in 60 seconds. But The Amazing World of Gumball didn't just dip its toes in the trope. It cannonballed in head first and stayed underwater. Gumball doesn't just wear a dress for one scene. He wears it for the entire episode. And that in itself isn't the problem. The issue is that the show does nothing interesting with the setup. No commentary on gender expression, no satire of social norms, not even a moment of self-awareness. Just chaos. The entire joke boils down to boy puts on dress, school thinks he's a girl, everyone loses their minds. And while that might have worked for 30 seconds, dragging it out for 11 minutes with no twist, no insight, and no meaningful payoff, that's when it starts to feel cheap. Fans weren't mad that Gumball wore a dress. No one was clutching their pearls over that. What annoyed people was that the writers had a setup with potential and threw it away for weird romantic tension and some lazy punchlines. If they wanted to explore how Gumball feels about identity, attention, or being treated differently based on looks, that could have been hilarious and insightful. Instead, we got Darwin writing love letters to a fire hydrant and Gumball fake moving to Europe. Cartoons like Steven Universe, She-Ra, or even Adventure Time have shown how you can handle identity topics with creativity and care, even in goofy, offbeat worlds. Gumball has the brains to do that too, but in this case, it didn't. It wasn't bold, it wasn't subversive, it was just there. And unfortunately, it set the stage for one of the most memorably awkward moments in cartoon history, the infamous coaster confessional. But in the dress, Darwin is reduced to a punchline. His feelings are exaggerated to the point of being creepy, and then they're tossed aside like they never mattered. It's uncomfortable, not because he falls for a girl, but because he falls for his brother, acts like he's in a rom-com, and then gets zero closure. That's just lazy writing, and way beneath what Gumball is usually capable of. Also, let's not ignore the elephant in the room. Darwin and Gumball are brothers. Adopted or not, they're family. They've grown up together. They share a room. This whole dynamic works when they're bouncing jokes off of each other, not when one is writing love notes to the other. So, was the dress bold satire, misunderstood chaos, or just a giant what were they thinking moment? Honestly, it's a little bit of everything. Weird, awkward, strangely memorable, and totally roast-worthy. Even in its flop era, Gumball reminds us that taking creative risks doesn't always pay off, but it definitely gets people talking. What's your pick for the most cursed Gumball episode ever? Drop it in the comments. I might just dig into it next. And hey, if you enjoyed reliving this fever dream with me, hit like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more cartoon breakdowns, hot takes, and digital chaos.